Hello, today I'm joined by my guest, Mr. Lee Redfern from Rayner Recruitment. How you doing, Lee?
Very good. How are you?
Yeah. You're looking very suitably on brand, more on brand than I am today. You've reclaimed the pink for yourself.
I have indeed. No one can have a trademark on it, and I'm sure you know who I might be referring to.
Well, if you want to share t-shirts with Simon Whale, you're a braver man than me. But
I sidestep that offer if that's all right with you.
But moving on. Lee, we're here to talk about something which I think is fair to say is probably a bit of a hot topic at the moment, because I think when you look at estate agents and particularly sort of the issues they're up against, and you look at two hot topics that always come up in any panel discussion, any conference, and it will always be at the moment recruitment and
Yeah,
AI.
yeah.
And I appreciate those are two very different things, but when it comes to recruitment, it struck me that there is a bit of a perception issue out there with how
Just a
recruiters are
bit.
sometimes seen, because and we're no strangers to this in the estate agency sector, because there is no other group of people that are up against perception issues from the get-go, like an estate agent. So we need
Are
to.
we the top two? I think estate agency and recruitment probably are the top two mistrusted sectors.
It's
Sometimes fairly, but
yeah.
I'm here to say unfairly in most instances, I would say.
Well, I think it all comes down to something that you and I spoke off camera about, but it comes down to trust.
It does.
I think that entrusting somebody with your house, your single biggest asset, it needs a lot of trust and a real professional. And I think likewise, the things that power our lives are our careers, and that's what puts food on the table, quite
Yeah.
literally. And I
I think,
think that responsibility is huge as well. And that's a massive trust leap, isn't it, Lee?
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And I'd like to think, and there's nothing worse than when people say, yeah, we're different. Um, but I'd like to think we really truly are. We don't come from a place, first and foremost, of trying to shoehorn people into something that suits us. And I think that again could be something that could be labelled as a state agency. We don't do that in the main. We just sit back and we listen to what the person would like for their career. And we come from a place of how we want our careers to be. We're very aspirational and we do what we do because we really, really enjoy it. And shouldn't everyone feel like that about their job? Um, so that's why we do what we do. That's why we talk to people in the way that we do. We don't go, please talk me through your CV. We don't particularly need your CV in that respect. We want to know about you, what excites you, and I want to get as close as possible, or the people that I work with, we want to get as close as possible to what that dream is. I don't think there's
Well,
anything from that.
it's interesting because you guys ran a very successful marketing campaign around making Mondays matter, I think.
Yes, Russell.
And that's brilliant. And I think that sort of epitomizes the it sums up perfectly everything that everybody feels on a Sunday night about going back into work. If you feel like it's your first day back at school and you don't want to be there and you've got the Sunday jitters, then it's that warning sign, isn't it, Lee, that
It's
you're.
real though. This is real, and you know, I myself have had many a Sunday when I felt like that in the past, and I'm just like, I've had enough of this. I don't want to be like this anymore. Russell's enthusiasm is genuine. Anyone who knows Russell knows that his enthusiasm is genuine, and so's ours. I like talking to people. I like making money as well. That's okay. That's fine. But predominantly, I like doing good things, doing the right thing, and that's how you build relationships on a human level, whether it's personal or whether it's with a client. It doesn't really matter. It's about outcomes that are positive, and I love that. And the people that I work with, and we all work together, we all love that. And that that comes from Josh, that comes from Russell, and that comes from people who want to do something positive. And if someone starts a job, and one of my very best friends, literally this morning, started a new job and he's buzzing. And I love that. I love that. That's what actually gets you out of bed, not anything else.
Yeah, that's superb. You know, at the beginning when I said that there's two of those, the two touch points that we always end up talking about is either recruitment or AI.
Yeah.
I did come across one recruitment company, and we're not going to talk about who they are, who are
Yeah.
employing AI quite a lot. I think it's probably right to say that if this is if property is a people business, recruitment it's very, very hard has to be a people business as well, particularly when it comes down to trust. Do you see any sort of threat coming from the AI zone, or do you think that's actually where
Of
you
course
get
there
it?
is, but I mean, I don't look at it from a viewpoint of it being a threat. I think AI is inevitable. I think we all accept that, and I think there's also um, ways in which it can be used effectively within recruitment. If we look at other arms of our business, if we look at inside talent, AI is a great example of that. If you're looking for mass recruitment and you want to be able to engage um, with a lot of people, and whether that's a call center environment or anything like that, then that makes a lot of sense. Or a negotiator for a state agency. But we're not about that. Our brand is purely relationships. It's about helping people, and it's about most of the way that we work is not through structured interview processes. A lot of the time, it's just the relationships that we have with businesses and the relationships we have with people, and it's about shutting up and listening, which is really, really hard for me. And I'm sure you can empathise with that, David. Um,
100%.
but it's shutting up and listening and joining some dots together that don't make sense sometimes. But you know it's the right thing for both parties, and you know that both people are going to listen to you because you come from the right place. But
So
I'm not scared per se of AI. I do use AI, and I'm sure 99% of people do. It's just to what extent. I just think as long as you don't lose any of your unique selling points or your authenticity, then I think that's okay.
your humanity as well, I think, is important
Very true.
in that
Very
respect.
true.
And talking of the human element to it, I think it's
Mm.
probably fair to say one of the reasons why recruitment keeps coming up is that it's weird, the recruitment cycle at the moment, because you've
Yes.
got on the one hand there are some very decent positions to fill. On the
Yeah.
other hand, there are and almost quite quietly quite a few redundancies
An
happening.
awful lot. Yeah, an
Yeah.
awful
So,
lot.
that must be the more unpleasant element to your job.
Yes, it really is. It really is. And this is not about me moaning or indeed anybody else. It just comes, you can't not be, when you come from a place of helping people and being a human being, that does take its toll. And there are a lot of redundancies. It's such a strange um, market at the moment, particularly in prop tech. There have been a lot of redundancies, but there's also an awful lot of jobs, a lot of opportunity. This is not a Rayner Personnel ad. We are incredibly busy, and we have been all year so far. One interesting trend that we've seen a lot with our clients isn't, and you will notice sometimes when we talk about roles, is that if we went back 2 years ago or a year ago, they would just want to hire one person for that role. Now they want to hire three. They
Yeah.
want to hire all at the same time. And that is not anecdotal. There's lots and lots of examples that we have of that. But then also you can get, quite significant redundancies, which we've seen that people have experienced. There's an awful lot of talented people at the moment who've lost their job and it's not their fault. And um, that is that's hard to balance when you can hear people that you can hear how much it's knocked their confidence. And if you've been there yourself in the past, which I have, I think that helps a lot because then you're not just going, "Oh, that's terrible," and putting the phone down. It's all right to have a chat with someone about it for 10 minutes because it is unpleasant and it
Yeah.
does into other parts of your life. And it's okay to be able to just talk about that and normalize it, I guess, because it does knock you.
It's really interesting to me to hear you say that because, you know, you think about your kind of hierarchy of needs as a human being, what you need to feel validated and fulfilled
Yeah,
in life. We never normally place career that high up because it's
No,
something that if you've got a job, it's just part of your life. You either moan about it or you love it. And sometimes you're somewhere in between. But losing until you've lost a job and you don't know what you're going to do next. And
yeah,
you've had that moment where you were somewhere that you quite liked, you now have to go and find something else. It is, I wouldn't say demoralizing, but I think it is disorientating. You just do not know where you are. You
no.
don't know where you fit necessarily.
I think a good way of describing it is if let's say you've got there's four pillars of your life, and an element of that is work, and that is not to say I am not obsessed by my job. I love my job. I want to do a good job every day. I enjoy every element of what we do, but it's not everything to me. I've got a family, I've got friends, all of that stuff, same as everybody else. But when you lose your job, you lose a pillar of a sense of who you are a little bit, and it like how you perceive yourself. It's more about you actually than your friends or family or
Yeah.
colleagues or ex-colleagues. They still see you the same, but you don't see yourself the same. There's nothing wrong with accepting that, um, but then also not being too hard on yourself. And I think that is an element of what we do at the moment, and that's okay, and it always will be. Is just talking to people, and that's okay if you feel like that because 99% of us have all felt like that at some point. And then,
I'm smiling because I always think that we as estate agents end up being therapists for people that we go to
well,
stay in their
I
houses.
think we've
And I
got
think
that
in
in
the
common.
recruitment industry, you offer a certain type of therapy as
Plus,
well.
we are dealing in things that make people feel vulnerable, whether that is moving house and it's a family home of 20 years or whatever, or there are circumstances that aren't positive. You know, everyone always thinks that people move because they want a bigger house or something. Not that's not the case, is it? With the state agency, and it's the same in what we do. Like ultimately, the things that we love are obviously things where you can help facilitate someone improving their lives, but sometimes it's about just sustaining life and
Yeah.
sustaining where they need to be or whatever else. And yeah, you're always going to have that because there's an element of vulnerability when you are trying to change job, find a job, improve your circumstances, just the same as it is with property, trying to move. It's exactly the same thing in many respects.
Okay, so we discussed the sort of little negative side. Tell me about the warm, fuzzy feeling you get when you manage to land somebody their dream job and what that does for you.
Oh, we absolutely, genuinely buzz off this. Everyone thinks it's all about money, and whilst it's a big thing, there is nothing better than speaking to someone and knowing what you're going to tell them, and knowing that it's going to really, really help their lives. Whether it means that they're going to be able to go and buy their first house, whether it's going to completely change their lives, whether it's someone where they've just had a really tough time and they just needed someone to believe in them. It is the best feeling. And Russell always says this, and he's right. He said, there is no better dopamine than helping someone. And there isn't actually. Like, you can look at the adrenaline of making some money,
Yep.
which everyone would perceive a headhunter recruiter to be solely driven by. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm not driven by that. I am. I am very much driven by that. But it doesn't replicate how you feel when something brilliant happens for someone.
Yeah.
Um, and that I love.
Yeah.
And what I love about that is you then things turn into genuine relationships with people. I'm not pretending we're best friends with everyone. You don't have to be best friends with everyone, but you have genuine relationships that aren't trying to monetize every 4 seconds. And I'd like to think that's one of the things that we're brilliant at. We speak to people like humans, and they speak to us like humans, and we cut all the rubbish out. And actually, that's how you get really positive relationships and outcomes. I think. What do you think?
No, I think it's so important to somebody. I mean, as we've discussed, I think it's so important to people in terms of you can see you get those LinkedIn posts, don't you, where you see people who are saying, the little open to work bubble appears on LinkedIn but people that have had to move on from their jobs or that there's been redundancies for whatever reasons, it's always a big defining moment for them. And they have to, and it's hard because you have to go out there to everybody that you think relies on you, and you have to go, look, what I was before will now change because I now need to find something else to do. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping very much to find something that I love, but I'm worried about it. I'm also worried about paying the mortgage. I'm also worried about the school fees. I'm also worried about this. I'm worried about that.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
and so what happens is you end up sometimes some people who are they're under pressure. They will be looking at accepting anything that they can take to fill that void rather than perhaps what should be their forever job, if you like. It's funny because we talk about matching people with forever homes, but and we don't think about jobs for life anymore, but there are forever careers and there are forever jobs, I suppose, where people say,
Definitely careers. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely careers. Um, do you know what? I've not thought about the want of a better word because I'm not a massive fan of the word synergy, but I am where I am now. Um, between property and recruitment, if you clip synergy, I'm going to be fuming, and I know you are. Um, but I think that's it's really it's opened my eyes a little bit because actually it's that vulnerability. It's that, oh god, this is upheaval. This is
yeah,
real change,
it's a
not
big slide, it's a
change as in
sliding
go
doors
and do this
moment.
thing. This is change that you quite rightly should feel apprehensive about, and that's okay.
Yep. And I think therefore, I think that synergy, for use of a slightly wanky phrase, but that synergy is really where with the state agency, we're there to hold people's hand through that time and get them
Yeah,
through it. It's a hard
same.
enough job as it is. And I think likewise when you get a good recruiter, I think they are there not just to say wham bam, thank you, man. There's your interview. Go ahead, let us know how you do. But I think it's more than that. You take the time to sort of understand the position that somebody's in, understand where the anxieties are, so that you can properly sort of place them. And I think that makes all the difference. And that hand holding, I think, is what people need in times where they are feeling despondent.
I think one of the things that people say a lot about us, and when I say us, I mean just Rayner Personnel in general, is our hopefully our enthusiasm feels real and realistic. Like we are enthusiastic about things, but that's not because we're just telling someone what they want to hear. We believe that we can help someone, and that's more of a mindset, and that's more of our relationships. You know, we don't sing and shout enough about what we do. I know how noisy we are already, and I'm a good northeast lad at heart, and I'm not really someone who's going to go on LinkedIn and tell everyone about all the great work that either I or anyone in my team or anything else has done. That's just not going to happen. I've got family and friends who will ruin my life if I do that, and I'm all right with that. Keeps you in check. But the truth is we are really good at what we do, and we do a good job because it comes from the right place, and that's why we have the relationship we do. And that's all come from our founder Josh, ultimately, the ultimate connector. But our enthusiasm, that's why we are great at what we do, because we will just go and do it, and we will work harder than anybody else, and we will make it happen because we want to.
Well, I think that is something that is worthy. I think that you should be extremely proud of what you do if you do it in that way, because I think it adds a lot of that value. Um, Lee, if I can ask you, obviously it's a funny little marketplace out there, and the world is changing for estate agents in terms of almost what I call mini franchising options,
Yep.
which are, let's face it, that's a self-employed position nowadays. We used to call them franchises in the old days, but now we call them self-employed
Yeah.
models. But they're very popular because it gives people really the sort of flexibility and sometimes the lifestyle that they want, but together with the upside of being able to earn money. Um,
Yeah.
that's not unique to the property game. You guys have quite a distinct model at Rayner. Do you
Right.
want to just talk to us about
Yeah,
how
of course.
yours works?
I think one of the reasons, if you couple our business model, franchisee model with enthusiasm, it's one of the reasons why we are successful. We are solely driven from a revenue perspective, by income generated by fees. So everyone who's a franchisee, when they wake up every morning, they have not earned any money that day. They're not on a salary, which means that we have to work hard and we have to do the right things. It keeps you very grounded, I think, and I think there are franchisees who earn an awful lot of money in what we do, and they're incredible at it. Over 25 grand last month, someone was paid. And that comes from expertise and energy and drive. And I've never ever owned my own business before. I've always worked for businesses. Been lucky. I've worked for some really good companies, but I've never done it before. And I got Raynered to a degree. Thankfully, it was a good thing. But Josh was like, "Come on, come and do this, come and do this." And I just thought, you know what? Sod it. And it's the best thing I've ever done, because yes, I work really hard, but my lifestyle and balance is great. I have to go to London a bit too much sometimes, which is not great for hangovers, but that aside is perfect. Like, I get to go and pick my daughter up from nursery whenever I want. If she needs to come home because she doesn't feel well, I'm here and I
Yeah.
can move things around. The balance is amazing, and you truly allowed to be yourself, which is really empowering. And you ultimately start to build your own brand up, I guess. Again, I'm dangerously close to making myself cringe, but in a way, I like that, because it means that it keeps you honest, keeps you sharp, and it means that I like personally, and this probably goes against what most people think. I like waking up in the morning and going, "Whoa, where what we're going to get out today." I
Well,
like that. That drives me in, and I've recognised in myself that this type of business and business opportunity is good for someone like me. What do I mean by someone like me? Someone who's got ADHD and can probably do a full day's work in 4 hours, and then probably needs to not go and do something else for a bit.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that's
I
sort
know
of where
that.
I come from.
I know the
Um,
feeling. Um,
Most people, anyway, if you've got ADHD and you're ready for a change, this is the right place for you. Have a chat with me.
no, well, it's fantastic, and I think both our sectors attract a lot of people who are slightly, what's the word, neurodiverse in terms of ADHD,
Definitely neurodiverse. Yeah, do
because
you know what? I'd love to know the percentage, and I haven't done it. I'd love to know the percentage of people in Rayner Personnel that have ADHD.
right,
I'm confident it's
we're,
north of
we're gonna
50.
get the psychologist in to analyze you guys. But I'll tell you what I
Please
do
don't.
like about Rainer Personnel, and I know this because I have heard this from somebody that I know to be looking for a job at the moment. That in as much as yes, you won't earn anything until you place somebody, and I get that. That's where the pressure for fees comes from. But none of you are selfish. So if you get thrown a candidate where you think, actually, I don't know anything about the sector that they want to go into, I think they're
Yeah,
better off being placed with Russell or with Josh. And likewise, I've seen Josh do it the other way, where he says,
absolutely.
you know what, this is great, but this is absolutely for Lee. And I
That's
think some,
exactly how it works across the entire business, and always will do. The reason that I highlighted the business model is actually the opposite. It's actually to explain why we are as we are and how we work as we do. We are not we're not propped up by a substantial salary or anything like that. So we've got to get things right. We've got to get things right for the candidate and for the client. And if that means that somebody else is better at that, then that's the right thing. And if you do the right thing every single time, you do it as much as you can, knowingly, then everything falls into place. The money comes by doing the right things over and over again. We say it sometimes to highlight, if we're speaking to someone who's really commercially driven, is to go, well, look, just so you know, I'm not entering this to help you, um, just to be pleasant or anything else. We are outcome based
Yeah.
in how we do things. So don't worry. Like we're not fobbing you off. Like
Yeah.
we
We're
want
a
to help.
for-profit business. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But if you, I think people see straight through you when you're just in and out to do a deal. Great, you'll have done that deal, but we're in it for relationships. That's where real success is, whether it's for clients, candidates, or for ourselves.
Okay. Lee, I'm going to ask you a question that I've not prepped you for.
Whoa,
But bearing in mind that our audience is probably a pretty even mix of suppliers and also agents.
yeah.
Now you work very closely with suppliers. What is it that you think that suppliers need to understand about recruiting and recruitment that you feel that they sometimes, underestimate or they don't see?
I think so. There's two key elements here, and it's something that we say to our clients all the time. It's first of all, what's your burning platform? You will have a problem. What is it? Let's talk about that. The second thing is not identifying, or no one ever has enough time typically in businesses to sit back and look objectively at their business and think this is where improvements could be made. So a lot of our work, David, is not actually we have this job, we have this candidate. It's going to talk to companies because we've got a brilliant person who can add value. If we talked about something like partnerships, which is quite vogue now, if you went back 5 years ago, no one had partnership director hardly, and now everyone does. But it's actually right. You might have one, but what are we getting out of that? And it's that
Correct, yeah.
objectivity of being able to talk to businesses and go, look, we get it. I get it. For my entire career before this, I had no ability to be able to go and sit back and go, oh, what do we need to do here? No, I'm in the day, I'm in the month, I'm in the year. I get it. But we can be really objective and go, we think you might have a gap here, or would you like to consider this? I think that's really important. But going back to the original point I made about um, issues in businesses, it doesn't mean that that's necessarily a problem. It's about someone doing all of the heavy lifting. It's about someone going, right, you told me this problem. All I want is half an hour. I just want to talk to you about it, explain it all. I'm going to shut up and then I'm going to come back with some solutions. That's what that's what's really important. I don't think people identify that enough. They just go, "Oh, I've got this problem,"
And
and they just think we're going to be sharks as well. Let's have it right. Everyone thinks whether you're a estate agent or whether you're a recruiter that you're a shark and you're just in it for money and a fast buck. And lots of people are,
yeah.
and that's why people have the perceptions of both industries that they do. And we're just trying to be ourselves and do a good job. But I think
I think
they're
that's
two key challenges.
I think that's commendable, and I think that, I give the same advice to estate agents as I would give to recruiters. I think at some point you've got to own that. You've got to understand the reason why people feel that way, and you have to go out there and prove them wrong, and then be proud about it. Then I want you to, then I do actually want to hear you shouting about it from the rooftops, because I think
Yeah,
that is what changes perceptions out there. Because if we don't crow about those successes, sometimes I think we're not learning the lessons from them. We learn too many lessons from when it goes wrong. When it goes wrong, some of life's hardest lessons are from the stuff that goes wrong. But when it goes right, when you add value, when you actually are sort of moving somebody on to a better quality of life, and what you do has that influence, I think you need to be able to talk about it.
probably we don't do that enough. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. We have the sort of culture where we focus on positives and negatives in the same way. Um, but I think as humans we're not always wired up to go well done us.
Well, well,
I think you're right.
let's get you doing a bit more of that then,
I'll
Lee.
do my
Um,
best.
uh, so, uh, so that was your advice to suppliers. For people that are out there in the job market, looking for work within perhaps the supplier sphere and the sort of services related side of the property industry,
Yep.
what do they need to know about hunting for a job today that is different from, say, it was, 5 years ago, whenever they might have done it last?
First of all, keep the faith. It's not easy. Don't be too hard on yourself. It's horrible. And just remember you're the same person when you had a job to when you don't. That's the first thing. I think you've got to come first of all from on a human level. It's really, really important. Particularly when you're in a volatile environment, industries where like the boom and bust that we were talking about before, where you might have lots of jobs here, but then there's lots of redundancies there. It's trying to keep yourself in an even keel. The next thing is the introduction of AI. There's no denying that AI is in a lot of instances used as a gateway barrier, whichever terminology you want to use, um, with businesses if you are applying with them directly. This is not a recruitment advert. I promise you it's not. This is about the best things to do. It's about relationships. It's about leaning into your relationships, whether that is a headhunter, a recruiter, a former colleague. It's about talking to them. It's about asking them, how can I go and speak to this business? And if not, if you don't want to do all of that work, guess what? That's exactly where we come in. But it's about if you apply for a job through a platform, through a portal, that's going to be difficult. You need to make yourself stand out because in a lot of instances that will go through AI tools.
So I heard this. Somebody asked me to look over their CV, and I thought I was doing them a favor, and I ran it through an AI tool that basically made it look better.
Yeah,
And they came back to me and they said, "Oh, no, 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 that's not what I wanted." Because a lot of they reckon that a lot of these platforms don't they actually recognize AI and they
right.
kind of discount it. They want the
Right.
real deal.
That's true. Look, first and foremost, I despise CVs, and I shouldn't say that, bearing in mind that first of
We're on
all,
the same page
I
there.
mean, I despise them. It's utterly impossible to be
It's
able to put.
horrible and it's demoralizing to have
Of
to
course, it is.
put your entire worth onto a piece of paper with dates on it.
And
It
it's
just
just it. I mean, there are things that if you want to give yourself a chance to, then please, put examples in there. And if you are fortunate enough to be able where there is numbers or attach rates or performance pertaining to that, show it, show real life examples. It doesn't mean you have to, say who the businesses are, but just show how you've done something. Businesses are more interested in how you've done it, not the outcome all the time. It's showing I know how to do something. But when you come to CVs, I really don't like them because, and I'd like to think why we're successful is that I don't ever, I want to pull someone away straight away because they want to talk. Right. So I started here. I'm like, right, can we just have a chat? Can we just have a conversation about you, please? A CV is a reference point as far as I'm concerned,
yeah.
nothing else. Nothing else. But going back to your original point about AI and CVs, this is just another reason why I don't like them. And I would suggest that the introduction of AI to do this isn't the right thing because it doesn't marry up with the individual or the role that the business has. I don't think. I don't think we've got there, and I don't think we're close to it when it comes from how companies address it. That's not everyone. It's not like, I'm not here to denigrate businesses that use AI. There are businesses that use it very efficiently. And it's about knowing that and knowing if you put applications in on businesses' websites or on portals or on LinkedIn or anywhere else, know that that might be possible and try and build relationships either with the recruiter, the headhunter, the talent acquisition team, someone in the business, someone who's going to champion you instead of you just relying on a CV that is not a true reflection of you.
I think that's great advice, and it's been a fascinating discussion. I'm gonna thank you for that. Lee, where are we seeing you next? Are you guys get out and about on the conference circuit?
Yes, I think Max is going agent giving golf day. That's not far away. I'll be at the agent giving ball. I will be at Kerfufflecon,
Hey,
which
are
I
we?
suspect is what you wanted me to say anyway.
Well, a plug for Kerfuffle Con is always
We're very
always
excited.
worthwhile.
Yeah, we've got a
Um,
stand. We're very excited to come. We're going to bring even more fun than you lot. That's the plan.
oh no, 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 it's on,
Gauntlet is
it's
down.
on. Challenge
We're not
accepted.
scared. We're not scared. We're up for it. Thanks for the invite today. I really appreciate it.
No, no, really, really appreciate talking to you because I think it's a subject we don't get the recruiter's perspective on enough. We all have our thoughts about it, but it's been great to get to know the humans behind the business. So
Yeah, that's us. We're all humans at the end of the day, aren't
that's
we?
it.
In the
Thank,
main.
thank you.
Cheers. See ya.